Welcome to Cozy Coven Chats with Jenny C. Bell, where we explore the journey of the witch. Hey witches, welcome to another Cozy Coven Chat. I'm your host, Jenny C. Bell, and this is for the week of October 19th. This week we have a new moon in Libra and the start of Scorpio season, which I think is the true season of the witch, in my opinion. So I first wanted to start off by talking a little bit about October and sore throats. And the reason why I bring this up is because for the longest time as a kid and a young adult, I would get sick around Halloween almost always. I remember one year I had strep throat and my mom drove me around a little bit so I was like running a fever. And a couple of my friends got candy and like brought it to the car. I was completely laid out. And it's always been my favorite holiday. I remember another time in college, my geology club, we were part of this really cute harvest festival. And I was on the planning committee and we were doing this game, which is like such a fun game for kids. It's just like I had this big cauldron and they just close their eyes and plunge their hand in and get whatever candy they can grab. I mean, it's like the best game. Everyone's a winner. And I had it all planned. I had the cauldron, I had the candy, I dressed up. I was running a fever with a horrible sore throat. And so I don't remember where I saw this. It was like probably on TikTok. But basically there was a connection between the sore throat around this time and the witch wound. And it really makes a lot of sense to me. The throat chakra is our place of self-expression. The witch wound, not everybody believes in, but I do. And it's this idea that as a collective, we have a witch wound because almost all of us have an ancestor that was accused of witchcraft, that saw someone killed for witchcraft, or was an accuser of someone of witchcraft, right? I'm not saying everybody, and I'm saying like deep in ancestry, right? That's still happening in places today where people are accused of witchcraft and it's against the law. You know, I'm in America and for now we're allowed to do this, right? And hopefully always. But you know, there are places in the world where you cannot be a witch. Like it's not legal. It's still illegal to be a witch. And so, you know, I think those, you can go by healer and other things, but you know, that fear is in the collective where it's, you know, dangerous, it's illegal, it's can be deadly if you practice. And so I think a lot of us who are drawn to witchcraft or were witches in past lives, if you believe in past lives, have to work on healing and opening ourselves up from that witch wound. And I think that a sore throat around Halloween is a sign of someone who is dealing with a witch wound and or someone who is meant to be a witch. Now, if you're like, oh, I've never got a sore throat, maybe I wasn't meant to be a witch. No. No, you know, sore throat's not required. But it's just something that I think is a truth. And not everything I say on here is your truth. But I think that chronic sore throats or weird tightening around throat, or if you're trying to tell your truth and you're doing like a lot of like a lot of throat clearing, or I see people even like touch their throat when they're trying to get their truth out, that's all throat chakra. And so chronic sore throats are blocked throat chakra. And I know for sure as a child and as a young adult, I really was not speaking my truth. I was really dealing with a lot in general. So food for thought, you know, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear comments and ideas about that. Okay, so let's get back to what we're actually talking about. Let me pull a card for this week. We have 3 of Wands, and it's interesting because last week we had 3 of Cups. So 3 is the magic number, which, by the way, I used to watch Schoolhouse Rock, but at one point in the 90s, there was a Schoolhouse Rock CD put out of like 90s musicians doing Schoolhouse Rock songs, and Blind Melon does 3 as the magic number, and it's absolutely beautiful. So, and I also really love Blind Melon's Nico album. If you've never heard it, you should listen to it. It's very beautiful, very raw. Anyway, Three of Wands. This is, I'm using the Modern Witch Oracle or Modern Witch Tarot deck, and it's a woman. She's standing on a mountain or a cliff. She has three wands standing straight around her. She's holding on one of them, but she's standing very strong, very firm. And she's overlooking water, and it's just like she looks powerful. And so this card is really about being grounded and supported, working hard, being in your power, manifesting. It's like this woman is in large and in charge. Like she is here, she's conquered something, she's made it to the top of the mountain, and she's standing firm in what she's doing next. And so when this card pops up in a reading for me, I often think I'm on the right track. That's what this card tells me. Like I'm on the right track in my life. Like success is here, success is coming, I'm in my power, I'm stable, I'm grounded. And if you're not feeling those things, then what you ask yourself is how can you get there, right? So I personally felt very ungrounded after the equinox. And so something I've been doing is, this is a little more new age, so it's not for everybody, but I've been calling back all the pieces of my soul and spirit and asking my guardian angel to cleanse them and return them into my body and anchor them in my body. And then I ground by going outside or imagining roots coming from my feet if the weather's not allowing me to go outside. And really imagine myself connecting with the heart of Mother Earth. And the reason why I call back all the pieces is because I want to make sure I'm completely in my body. It's my belief that a lot of us travel, especially in our sleep. If you're waking up very tired or you're not dreaming, you're like sleeping, but you're not dreaming, you could be traveling in your sleep. And you can always ask your angels and guides to make it so you're not doing that, so you can get some good sleep. But that's just a personal practice. I really like, I realize this episode's gotten a little new agey, so hopefully I didn't lose some of you. So we have that kind of idea of stability and grounded. So, if you're not feeling balanced or grounded or in your power, what are things you can do to get there? This week we have a new moon. And that is when my Witch's New Year's portal is going to premiere on YouTube. I'm at Healing with Jenny is my YouTube channel. It's going to premiere at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be out afterwards, for you to watch. But if you go to the premiere, you can ask me questions. And it can be related or not related. But it's a complete ritual for the new moon and kind of the opening of Samhain season. So if that sounds fun to you, join me. So that new moon is in Libra, and interesting because I was just talking about being grounded and stable, and Libra is very much balancing energy. Libra is the scales, but also justice, like balancing and harmony and all the Venus beauty and all those things about Libra that I really love, but also justice. So if there's been some kind of an injustice in your life, or you're feeling like things haven't been fair, this is a new moon to manifest on that justice or that fairness. And then the next day is the beginning of Scorpio season, which, like I said, is to me the season of the witch. They are the witchiest of all the signs. They are my opposite as a Taurus sun, and I love Scorpios. I've had a lot of Scorpio friends over the years. They're just down for anything, and they often will pull me out of my little Taurus hermit mode. But yeah, take advantage. Scorpio season is a really good season to get witchy, to try spells and rituals maybe you didn't feel confident in, to dress witchy. It always makes me want to dress like Nancy from The Craft. Like, it's good vibes for sure. Today, I've been sharing different kind of witchy things for Samhain from different books. I have this book, I found it on sale at Barnes & Noble with a gift card, and it's become actually a favorite book. It's called The Witch's Herbal Apothecary, Rituals and Recipes for a Year of Earth Magic and Sacred Medicine Making by Maricia Marinowski. Hopefully I said it right. And it's a Fair Winds book. And it's beautifully illustrated, and it's a go-to. And one of the things is it's seasonal, just like the last book I shared in the last episode. And she talks about that the fall portal is the water element. And she also gives you journal questions. So I'm going to give you some of them. What can you give more death to in order to create more life in moons to come? What is dead and asking to be released? How can you make your load lighter? How can you alchemize the fruits of your labor and slow down enough to savor the offerings of your creations? How can they feed you for months to come at the time of non-doing, which is winter? How can you prepare for winter? What roles and responsibilities can you release? What awakens your sensuality, creativity, and imagination? What are your hands asking for? Would they like to make something? What self-care practices bring you into deeper bliss and help you enter a restorative state? Which creative projects feel nourishing and can be your priority as you slow down your expectations of doing? How can you do less and be more? Oh, how can you do less and be more? That's a really good question. It's got me thinking already. Speaking of what to do with your hands, I talked a couple podcast episodes back about wanting to try crochet or knitting, and someone in our coven, but it was actually on Substack, was like, no, it was on YouTube. Someone from our coven in the past on YouTube was like, hey, I really prefer knitting. I really prefer crochet. What am I even saying? I really prefer crochet. You should try it. So then we have a local yarn store here, which is really cool in our downtown, and I signed up for crochet. So I actually will be taking my first crochet class on Samhain on November 1st, and I'll be making a headband that I will probably not wear, but the whole point is in this 2 hours, I should hopefully be able to make something by the end. I really want to do it in person because it's such a hands-on thing. I have a hard time learning hands-on activities through video or audio. So I did it. I signed up for something new, and we talked about too last episode with the Three of Cups for signing up for some kind of social activity. And so that's it. I signed up for crochet, and that's going to bring me out of my shell and doing something I've never done in my life and may not be good at it. And that's kind of the point. You know, sometimes we need hobbies just to have hobbies. We don't need to be good at everything. Yeah, so this week we're really looking at fall energy. We're looking at the transition between Libra and Scorpio, which is like this beauty and this balance. And Scorpio has this other aspect to it with it having a stinger as a tail. And I've seen scorpions. I'm, originally lived in the Mojave Desert for a long time. And so I've seen a few scorpions in my life. They're actually very beautiful, and they're arachnids. So they're related to spiders, and they're very protective of themselves, and they're young. And so they only sting when absolutely necessary, provoked. Otherwise, they're pretty peaceful. And so I like to think about that when we enter Scorpio season, being a little more cautious or careful. Not saying to stuff your anger away, but really choosing the words wisely. But also I think Scorpio season brings in boundaries. We need boundaries all the time. And so it asks you, what boundaries are you needing at the moment? What boundaries are not being upheld? Who is not upholding your boundaries? And are you not respecting someone else's boundaries? It goes both ways with boundaries. So that's something I think really important to think about. And then one more kind of reflective idea is, if this idea of the witch wound was interesting to you, then I would definitely ask yourself, what in your heart of hearts do you believe about that? Do you believe there is a witch wound? Do you think you've had an ancestry of persecution or being a persecutor? Do you feel like you had a past life? I know for the longest time, I felt I had a past life where I was hanged. And I even have moles around my neck. And I remember some psychic at some point saying that was a sign of having been hanged in a past life. And definitely don't I had asthma as a kid, and then not breathing, that panic, it's very anxiety inducing. So, just really thinking about, if you have a witch wound, where does it present in your body? Because for me, it definitely presents in the neck and the throat. And I've done a lot of work on my throat chakra. And I was really pleased when I first got an aura photo recently that she's like, oh, your throat chakra is huge and healthy. And I was like, yes, I've been working on that baby for a long time. So, that felt really good. But it may present somewhere else in your body. Could be in your heart, where you feel like worried or scared to tell other people what you do. Or it could be in your tummy and your guts and your solar plexus where you feel like you can't be in your power, like Three of Wands, such in her power. And so, yeah, I think that's something, like I said, I think it's a collective. And I know some people don't subscribe to that idea, but if it's interesting to you, at least investigate it. There's been there's a really great podcast by the BBC on witchcraft, which gives a really good historical overview of witchcraft, but also it's the host's journey of deciding whether or not witchcraft is for them and trying different things and overcoming kind of mental barriers and prejudices, and really, really well done. It's probably one of my favorite podcasts. It's like a nice deep dive. It's perfect for this time of year. Speaking of podcasts, I also want to say I really love Big Crystal Energy. It's super fun. Recently, she had an episode about the Ouija board, and it was the guy who is the museum curator for the Museum of the Ouija board. He has two of them, one in Salem, and it's one in Baltimore, I want to say. But it was such an endearing episode. Like, you learn the entire history of the Ouija board, you learn about his passion for collecting, but it was so wholesome, and it really makes you kind of strip away the fear of the Ouija board. So that's Big Crystal Energy podcast with Ashley Bodell. Sorry, Ashley, if I said your name wrong. And then I really like Embracing Magic podcast as well. Three lovely witches who just chatted up. But they have a really good one on the witch wound. And so highly recommend that. And if you don't already, and since it's kind of like spooky season, Two Girls and a Ghost is so fun. Like, it's one that you can do a deep dive in because they have a lot of episodes. And they basically research different hauntings and present them to one another. And so what's fun about that is because it's Two Girls, One Ghost, just to be correct. So Two Girls, One Ghost, such a good podcast. And the way they present it to one another is like, one doesn't know what the other one's going to say. So it'll be a lot of gasping and a lot of, no, it's like exactly how it would be if you were at a slumber party with your friends telling a ghost story, and it would be like the absolute like shock and awe of it all. So highly recommend those. The Ouija board episode, you gotta listen to that one because I want to talk about it with other people. But then Two Girls, One Ghost is so good. Like, good for like just like sitting around a campfire, and I wouldn't listen to it with kids because not every episode is like, some of them are kind of really kind of spooky and unnerving. But a good time for sure. So enjoy the season of the witch, and I hope to see everybody on YouTube with me. I'm really looking forward to that. So hopefully I see you there. And if not, you can definitely catch the replay, and I hope you have a great week. Blessed be. As always, thank you for listening. Please subscribe and share with a friend. If you haven't already done so, be on the lookout for my book, Spirit Crystals. Discover your crystal guide for healing and empowerment. Available wherever you buy books.